From the Magic Mile in New Hampshire to the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware, NASCAR at Trackside Live ready for round 2 of the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup.
Over Delaware, site of the Monster Mile, 400 grueling laps.
It didn't get the name Monster from not being a tough place to run.
The one thing you've got to do here at Dover is survive. With just 9 races left, a lot can happen.
The Monster Mile doesn't play favorites. 7 different winners in the last 7 races. And as we said, round 2 in the chase for the 2009 NASCAR Sprint Cup takes place here this Sunday in Dover, Delaware. Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, Steve Burns, and Elliott Sadler. Glad to be with you here on Speed, and yes, Jeff Gordon will be here, along with NASCAR legend Bobby Allison, and a future star. You might recognize his last name, Truex. The first
now
name,
a champion after just a few minutes ago.
17-year-old Ryan Truex will join us as well.
That'd be exciting. Want to be. Guys, all I can say right now, have we not got a monstrous crowd?
Look at this crowd.
Huh?
Guys, that's one of the biggest ones I've seen here.
I'm telling you right now.
Elliot, I like the sign that says, "Mom's in jail, but I'm okay." That's my kind of crowd.
I'm going to tell you what, this is a great group we dodged. I think a huge bullet today here as far as the weather. We've got a monstrous crowd here, but what about a monstrous first race last week at Loudon? I was just fascinated. Our 12 chase guys, how hard those guys were going at it from lap 1 to lap 300. It was all said and done. 7 of them finished in the top 10. 8 of them finished in the top 11. I saw Tony Stewart. He was not bashful about going 3 wide several times, getting off into turn 3. These guys were running every lap like it was the last lap of the season, not just the last lap of the race.
Well, I think Jimmy Johnson has changed the way you got to win this championship. We used to talk about mulligans and you could have a bad race and stuff like that, but his average finishes the last 3 years have been so good. These 12 chase drivers know you can't give up anything. You know, you have to race everybody like it's the last lap, and 5 points is 5 points can mean a big difference at Homestead, Jeff.
You're right about that, Elliot. And first thing I want to say, you know what we're talking about here because you were in amongst them. That great run right there in that number 19 car. Glad to see you up your battle. So you had an opportunity to see the intensity of what these competitors have been kind of like putting on the track, at least at Loudon. They were taking no prisoners, and you talk about the mulligans. I hate to say it, but for your teammate, having an engine problem right there probably means that Casey Kane won't wind up winning the championship this year. But to me, one guy that's in trouble already, believe it or not, has to be the number 99 car of Carl Edwards. He wound up finishing like 16th. I think that's about as far back as anybody can expect to finish in this chase and have an opportunity to still wind up winning the championship. But you got to rebound. At least the 99's got to rebound this week and finish, I think, in the top 5.
Well, I think because we have the most balanced group of drivers we've ever had
No
in the
question.
chase. You know, you used to have 1 or 2 guys, the 48 or the 24, if they have a problem, you catch up. But this 5 or 6 guys, the 42 to 11, 24, 48 to 5, that they're not going to mess up. They're going to lead laps. They're going to finish in the top 5. Either get in there with them or get left out.
And you know, going into this chase, I guess there was so much talk about the favorites to win this championship. This was the last lap actually coming to the caution. You know, a lot of talk about boy, was that ever close there with A.J. Allmendinger, your other teammate sitting there in the front stretch. But there was so much talk about can Jimmy Johnson, Chad Knaus, the 48 team, can they get their 4th consecutive championship? Is Jeff Gordon ready to win his very first Sprint Cup Series championship? The momentum that Tony Stewart, the 14 team, carried in there by leading the points ever since we were here in the spring. But I think the one guy that we maybe didn't hear mentioned a lot is the guy that took the checkered flag last week, Mark Martin, 51 years old. He gets his 5th win of the season. He may be the sleeper in this whole deal.
You know, Elliot, doing some research before I came up here, I was stunned. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but still the numbers are amazing. Jimmy Johnson's on the pole for Sunday's race. In 51 chase races, his average finish is like 9.4. He's the only driver under 10th in 51 chase races.
I think that's why we saw the guys racing 2 and 3 wide, whether it was the first lap of the race or the end of the race, that they're going to be tough. It's still the 48th championship to me to go win. The other 11 guys are going to have to go take it away from
Well, the thing is, we had practice today. We take a look at him on the outside, the 48 I'm talking about, last week at Loudon. And I made the comment to Steve and the guys after he got through making some practice runs, rut row, Shaggy, because when that car is that fast when they unload it, you better watch out. He pretty much dominated the field here in the spring. We know how good he can be here in the fall. And I think right now we had a chance to see Chad Knaus, because you guys are shooting NASCAR performance before Trackside. He's walking around, I think, with the right attitude right now, a lot of confidence in that 48 car. And if they can go through tomorrow's practices and both practices and get that car balanced like he unloaded it, you'll never catch it.
Hey, how about Juan Montoya on the pole last week, finishing third, leading a bunch of laps, qualified second today? Hello. That's another guy that Brian Patty, you know, they were being conservative and played a really good smart role, getting themselves into the chase. And I heard him on the radio last week in New Hampshire. Hey, we don't have to worry anymore. No more worrying. Let's go have fun. Let's race the racetrack, race the guys, and see what happened. I love that kind of attitude from Brian Patty.
There's no question. I mean, you talk about average finishes at these racetracks. I think for that 42 group, that's one group you just throw the average finish. They're not worried about the past, but they are working on the future right now.
Are y'all ready for Jeff Gordon?
Woo! That's a yes.
Well, Jeff Gordon will join us, talk about trying to win that 5th championship in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
Trackside is presented by new Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines. Brought to you in part by the Polaris Right-On Closeout, going on now until September 30th. And by True Value, the tools, products, and expert advice for all your project needs. True Value. Start right. Start here.
Of Jeff Gordon's 82 NASCAR wins have come here in Dover, Delaware. On Sunday, it's a drive for 5 and a continuation of a race for a 5th championship. Driver 24 to Trackside Live, Jeff Gordon.
Hi, guys.
What do you say, JG?
Good evening.
How are you, sir? Fellas, good evening.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
How's that old DuPont Chevrolet acting today?
I was pretty happy with the DuPont Chevrolet. Started off really good, and then when everybody went into qualifying trim, we got off a little bit there. A little bit of adjusting to this new tire definitely was a little bit different. And seeing at our past history of qualifying.
It's a little rough here in May.
Went a little bit more conservative this time, and 7th is a great, it's a great pickup. We picked up from practice, which was something a lot of guys didn't do, and so we'll take it.
I know you're not 100% happy with the finish you got last week in New Hampshire, but you are coming to a track you got 4 wins at. But we were just talking about the balance of the chase this year. There's so many of you guys running so good. I mean, you have to be on top of your game every single week, so it's got to feel good to come to some tracks you've had success at.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. The whole team's disappointed with what happened in New Hampshire. We started off there good, and we were just really loose on the restarts, and we tried to make some adjustments for that. That got the car off on the longer runs, which is what we were really good at. And then it was one of those all-around not a good day. We had a little trouble in the pits. The pit strategy didn't play out, and the car just really was a handful there, especially as we got back in traffic. So we just got to put it behind us. It could have been a lot worse. We're coming out of there 15th. Unfortunately, a bunch of the guys who are racing were ahead of us. And now we got 9 more to make it happen. A lot's going to happen over 9 races, so all we can do is do our best.
Jeff, you're racing for the championship, but I know yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I read that you and Rick Hendrick and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Had quite a humbling experience going to the Arlington Cemetery where 330,000 servicemen and women are buried, and you got to lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Talk about that experience.
It was an unbelievable experience. I'd never been to Arlington Cemetery before, and National Guard's a new sponsor for me. They've been at Hendrick for a couple years now, and they're unbelievable. They've really given us some incredible experiences from exciting things to you know, things that'll break your heart and things that are very emotional, and from soldiers at Walter Reed. And this experience to me just, you know, was unreal, because just it's such an eye-opening experience to drive in there and see, you know, all the grave sites, the men and women who have sacrificed, you know, the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. And then to go and see the changing of the guard, and to be able to put our hands on that wreath and lay that wreath, it was a very special moment, something I'll never forget.
I had an opportunity to watch it, and very impressive. I mean, very, very impressive thing you did there. But getting back to the chase, Jeff, you know, you've been involved in these things, and you understand what it takes to win. The way this final 10 races is set up, getting to it, I mean, is a big job. You guys got locked in pretty early. Do you feel like your team is rested up, and are you ready mentally? Because it's going to take, you know, 9 more really great races to win this championship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you come in here and keep your team pumped up and keep yourself pumped up to be able to pull that off?
Well, I would, you know, the thing that made New Hampshire even more disappointing is that we were so strong at Richmond. I mean, we came out of Richmond like on fire, had a great run, solid in the pits, you know, just communication, everything was going our way. And momentum's important, and to not back that up at New Hampshire was disappointing. So, you know, it's important, if you're a strong team, you know what you're capable of doing. It's important to put those types of races behind you as quickly as you possibly can, and then go on to the next one. You know, we know Jimmy's going to be really tough to beat this weekend. And I think it's interesting, you know, what you said, Elliot, about, you know, there's some guys, you've got, you know, like Vickers, his momentum to get into the chase. You've got guys like Juan Pablo Montoya that I feel like this guy has been really gaining momentum for several months now. And then they came out on fire. Yeah. And so that's impressive. And you got, you know, a lot of storylines in ways, you know, you can look at this thing, but all we can do is focus on our team and do the best that we can. And we know we've got a lot of good tracks that can go our way. And we know there's going to be those races that shake this whole thing up as well. And so it's how we do, you know, survival mode through those and get through them and hopefully get through them well, and see what happen to other guys. And then it's executing the best we possibly can when we're, you know, here in Martinsville and Charlotte, Kansas. So those are the tracks I think that are some of our best tracks.
A lot more with Jeff Gordon coming up. Meanwhile, we want to remind you to locate campgrounds near the Kansas Speedway. Visit GoRVing.com. You'll also find virtual RV tours, a free DVD offer, and RV dealer and rental locations in your area. More with Jeff Gordon coming up. Tomorrow on Speed, just 6 races to go in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. They're in Las Vegas. Championship contenders roll the dice in Sin City. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, NASCAR on Speed. Time now for our Inside Sprint Cup mobile feature. Let's take a look back at race number 1 of the chase for the Sprint Cup last weekend in New Hampshire.
While 43 drivers will race for the win, the focus now is on the 12 racing for just 1 trophy as the chase for the Sprint Cup begins.
This is the start of what's important, so no matter what happens today, we do not give up. No matter what, we get every point we can.
We're waiting for this one for about 9 months and 20 days this year. Really excited about the opportunity we've got ahead of us here, guys.
Let's focus on what we can do. 300 of our best right here. We'll be in great shape. C-Pace car is off. Ready, green.
It's going to be a fierce battle to lead lap 1 here at New Hampshire as they come back to the stripe.
I'm glad you were clear on that 24 when you got loose off.
Man, where did we go wrong today? Don't mark to go or get off of me, damn it.
Trying to find out where I'm at here. It's all bound up.
They're doing a good job, man. Doing a really good job. Be smooth here. Keep an eye on the big picture here today.
I'm going to go drive like hell, wear the tires out, or kind of sit here and wait for that caution?
Drive like hell. Let's get some positions, buddy.
We're going to pit this time. Pit this time.
I don't think we needed a pit.
Go, 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 go. One lane, one lane, one lane, one lane.
Mother.
Excellent job, Pat. I'm so proud of this group. Why did I pit?
Well, I'm going to go for the inside.
You're the starter. Lauren, don't worry about it. The worry was last week.
Juan Pablo Montoya doesn't get a great start. Hamlin will lead for the first time this afternoon.
Go get him. This is your race.
Here's Mark Martin doing everything he can to push this 5-car.
Just watching him back there. I just wanted to show you what it could do. Caution's out, man. Caution's out for debris. Probably a show caution there. Unfortunately, I think so. We had that one. We still can get it.
Mark Martin is the leader. Side by side, they are door to door, and Martin will take the advantage.
If the 5-car goes out against me, I'm going to wreck his ass. Not cool at all. You're the best. This is yours right here.
He came in the points leader. He will leave the points leader. Checkered flag for Mark Martin.
You are unbelievable. Unbelievable how good you are. I'm speechless. I can't talk right now, boys. That's the hardest one I remember getting in a long, 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 long time.
My.
Intensity. Intensity.
What was that, race one?
Race one. Wow, only 9 more.
I think that is proof that the intensity level has stepped up a notch.
Well, look, I think, Hendrick has 3 of the strongest teams in the whole chase. What's the protocol? Because you guys have all done that, been there before. As far as working together, communication, is it we help each other in practice, but Sunday you do your own thing? Or kind of, a lot of fans want to know that at home.
Yeah, I mean, you got to race hard. I mean, you got to race for every position, and so there's times when your teammate is your best friend, and there's times when they're your biggest enemy. So you've got to get everything you can in the chase to win it, because every point really matters. So there's times when you're going to get frustrated, and we weren't having a great day, so we got a little more frustrated than normal. But, when what happens is throughout the weekend, you're constantly sharing information. That we have a database that everything is logged into. Everybody has access to that on the teams. And then we have our debriefs. We all sit down in the room and we talk about what we went throughout the weekend. And that's where, to me, the teammates really come into play, is the crew chiefs, the engineers, and the drivers sharing that information. And on Sunday, you're going to cut them a little more slack than you are others, but you still have to race hard, especially in the closing laps.
Jeff, I listened to an interview with you last week in the pre-race before Loudon, and I thought it interesting that you said if you're fortunate enough to be in position to win this championship, that even though you have 4 of those trophies, you would definitely treat this one a little different because it would be different.
Well, I don't have 4 of those trophies. I don't have any of those trophies.
Yours is the Winston Trophy.
Yeah, I have a Winston Cup, 4 of them, and I'm very proud of that.
Right.
We worked hard for them, but totally different points format. And the other thing about this format is you can run okay during the regular season and get into the chase and then come on fire, or have those 10 tracks that are really great tracks for you, or you go on a streak and you win the championship. And to me, that is really cool. It makes it very exciting and makes it anybody's championship to win, but it also makes it that much more challenging, and it's something we have not accomplished, and I want it really bad. I mean, it makes me that much hungrier because we haven't won it, but I really don't. When I look at history of our sport, I look at, Winston Cup as a part of the history, and there was a new history being made once they came up with the chase format.
Jeff kind of changed up things just a little bit here. We always know that you've got something going on exciting with Jeff Gordon Foundation, and I'm real curious right now is, what is it? Because I know you had the Corvette deal and you're doing a lot of stuff for the kids.
Thank you. We just sold out of our
a month
raffle
early.
tickets.
I heard that.
Thanks to Speed. Speed Channel has been a great partner of ours, as well as Time Warner Cable, and we've sold out. So somebody in the 5,000 who have bought tickets is going to win that Corvette in November. We're excited about that. And I want to thank all the fans out there who bought raffle tickets. But also, we've got these. We partnered up with Schwann's, and I will say I've always kind of had a sweet tooth, and so these are ice cream tins, and they go for $16.99 with Schwann's, and I signed a bunch of them as well. And for every one they sell, $1 goes to the Jeff Gordon Foundation. So they've been great partners of ours as well, and we're having a lot of fun with it. And
where's the ice cream?
Yeah, this one's empty, but I believe we might have some ice cream for you guys.
The thing is right now,
here.
I know a guy that works with us who loves ice cream. Who would probably buy, I don't know, a truckload of them things,
Well, this is
Darryl Waltrip. Yeah.
Well, there's 2 kinds of ice creams that I like: Rocky Road and mint chocolate chip. So we did a mint chocolate swirl to kind of put a little twist in there. I must say, it's really, really good.
Is
so you kind of get a bonus on both sides. I mean, you can do a great thing for the children and pediatrics with the Jeff Gordon Foundation, and plus you get to have some good ice cream.
Is the Corvette a convertible? Because Larry was wondering before he got a ticket, he didn't want to mess his head.
It's too late. I can't get
it's not too late. It's not maybe next year.
And you're going to pay the taxes on it again, right?
Yeah, same thing. You know, it's my 2008 Z06, my own personal Corvette, and we're going to pay all the license fees and taxes. So we hand the keys over to them, and it's all theirs.
Tell them to be careful, right?
Be a little careful. The ZR1 you got to be more careful with.
Not that you've ever lit the tires up or anything.
No, these were really good, easy miles that I saw.
Oh, yeah.
Highway miles.
Only drove in the church.
Highway miles.
I had to see what it could do. Come on.
More with Jeff Gordon coming up in a little bit later. We'll be joined by legendary driver Bobby Allison and a future star, Ryan Truex. Stay tuned to NASCAR 7 days a week with in-car audio, live race radio, stats, and more with NASCAR Sprint Mobile. It'll change the way you experience the race. Visit sprint.com/speed to find out more. That's only on the Now Network. Glad you're back with us here on Trackside Live. Time to open up that big old shell garage and take a ride around the Monster Mile. And since Jeff Gordon has led 2,231 laps to be exact here, who better to take us around?
Well, you got to get off turn 4 really hard to get down this straightaway. You really drop down into the banking. A lot of G-forces here. The car really compresses into the banking. You're in the gas hard from the middle off. Maybe not as hard off that corner as I was the last time. Down this back straightaway, just carrying a ton of speed here. You really got to be committed as you drop down the corner and then back hard in the gas. And you want to make sure you're on the mat coming off of turn 4, getting to that finish line. And it's an awesome, awesome place to make a qualifying lap and to race. And I'm excited about this new tire. I'm really curious. It's laid a lot of rubber. I think we're going to see a really wide groove this week.
Well, I got a question. Since we're talking about Dover and we're having these double file restarts, which have been wild, Sunday, do you want the inside or the outside? Because I think this is going to be one of the wildest places because turn 2 and turn 4 get so narrow on late exit. I mean, which one where do you want to be?
It's really hard to say. I mean, it seems like the outside has been a lot better with this car most places. You know, I think if the track really does widen out, I think the outside, if you can pin a guy down there on the inside and take his line away from him on the exit, I think the outside is going to have an advantage. But it just depends on how your car's working. If your car's rolling around the bottom good, then you're going to want the bottom. The thing about the double file restarts is the only guy who gets a pick is the leader.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're sitting there going, okay, my car was going on the inside. Where am I? You're 12th.
Every time it's always the wrong line.
Exactly. So last week it didn't go in our favor. Maybe this week it will.
Jeff, when I first met you, I was with Neil Bonnet, and you had a bachelor pad in Withrow Downs, not far from Lowe's Motor Speedway. But you've been in New York, and I heard you're building a new house now. Whereabouts are you going to settle?
Yeah, we're building a house in Charlotte, and I mean, you know, that's where our business is. I mean, our race shops, and you know, being that I'm a family guy now, you know, it's time to have a backyard and settle down. And so I've been wanting to be in Charlotte more for a long time, and so we're going to be able to do that. And I've got Corian on my car this weekend, which is a DuPont product. And I'm pretty fortunate to have a nice tie to DuPont that does a lot of great home innovations. So I've got Tyvek on the home. I've got Corian going in the side on the countertops. So I'm taking advantage of my sponsor for sure.
It's not a bad thing. I can promise you that.
No, not at all.
I want to go back to the double file restarts shootout style.
Sure.
What's your opinion of it so far? And then I'm going to look a little bit further on into the chase here, and I'm looking at a racetrack called Martinsville, Virginia.
Right.
And what's your opinion about how it's going to work, how it's worked and how it's going to work there?
Well, you know, I think we've seen this year, and with this car, how track position is really important. So the double file restarts, I think, is fantastic. I think it puts on a great show. Everywhere I go, you know, everybody's like, well, what do you think about the double file restarts? And they're only asking that because they think it's exciting, you know, and it is. And it's exciting from inside the car, too. You really have to work hard for those positions. And if you get the preferred line, you're going to make up 2 or 3 spots on the restart. So it's huge what line you end up being in. And plus the leader gets to choose. So it's a really cool aspect that's been, you know, that's come in. It has changed things a bit, and I think it's gonna play a real factor in this chase. You know, we're gonna get down to to some tracks with 10, 15 to go, and you're not going to get in the line that you want, and you're going to go backwards, and somebody's going to get in the line that they do want, and they're going to go forward. So it's a real swing. I mean, it's 3-4 positions either way.
Yeah, like Martinsville.
Yeah, and Martinsville, you know, Martinsville is one of those tracks where it's sometimes you can run side by side, sometimes you can't. But you know, I think that the preferred line is on the inside there, and so you might see some real big swings at that track, because once you get a guy out there, it's hard for anybody to ever have enough patience, you know, to let him in. They're going to go, oh no, I got that guy out there. He's been fast. He's going backwards. So you could lose 10 spots in Martinsville.
Should be fun.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like what we do with Jeff. We get him out there and we leave him out there.
Leave him out there.
Leave him out to dry.
Yeah. It's the way it goes around here.
More with Jeff Gordon coming up. We want to remind you, NASCAR Banking gives fans the opportunity to earn race points with their debit and credit cards. Race points can be redeemed for all kinds of things, from racing merchandise to home electronics. For more information, go to bankofamerica.com/racepoints. We're back at the Dover International Speedway. Trackside Live. Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, Steve Burns, and Elliott Sadler hanging out with Jeff Gordon.
You know, Jeff, I think it's important to maybe educate some of our newer fans and viewers a little bit of the history of Jeff Gordon. You know, roughly 20 years ago, you were doing all open wheel stuff, and it looked like that's where you were maybe headed, but there just wasn't a lot of opportunities.
Right.
And somebody said, hey, why don't you go down to Rockingham and run you a few laps in the Buck Baker driving school?
Right.
You did, and the stock car career was on from there.
Yeah, Larry Newber, actually, who was an ESPN commentator, he helped me a little bit because
from probably Thursday Night Thunder, right?
Yeah, he and I had a friendship, and he told me, he's like, you know, I do a lot of NASCAR stuff. You really need to consider going down there and just driving one and trying it out. And I went to Buck Baker's school, and I fell in love with that. High banks, man. I didn't know you could drive a stock car like that, you know, blasted into the banking. And I had so much fun. And then, you know, I met Hugh Connerty at that school, who said, hey, I'm going to run 3 races this year, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe you should drive it. And I said, heck yeah.
In the Nationwide Series.
In the Nationwide Series. And that's and we sat on the outside front row. And Ray Evernham was the crew chief. I mean, it was so strange when I look back at it, how that whole thing came together. And then we sat on the outside front row, and then like 3 weeks later, I get a call from Lee Morris from Ford about Bill Davis. I went to Rockingham, did a test for him, and I mean, the things just started clicking fast. And it was unbelievable, and I've been on that wave ever since, man. It's been absolutely awesome. I loved racing the midgets, the sprint cars, and I would have been totally cool being a sprint car and midget driver forever. I still love them. Of course, the dirt late model now, I kind of wish I had driven a dirt late model back then, because those things are a lot of fun as well. But yeah, Indy, you know, just wasn't for me. They didn't have the IRL series back then, and had they, I think it might have been a little bit different.
Yeah. I'm going to fast forward to today's world where drivers do so much different social networking, and we're doing things to try to bridge that gap between ourselves and our fans. And we got Twitter and stuff like that now, but you're having like a live online chat coming in October. What's that for the fans?
I'm not a Facebook, Twitter really person, you know, but we do as much as we can for our fan network, the Jeff Gordon Fan Network. So we're going to be doing a chat October 13th, Tuesday, October 13th. You can go to jeffgordon.com and get all the information, but I'm looking forward to hearing from the fans and being able to talk to them. And they always have great comments and questions, and so, you know, we get to go on there live and have a lot of fun.
Censored?
Oh.
Yeah, you don't have to be censored. It's just whether or not I'm going to answer that question or not.
Yeah. But what about your, like your buddy and teammate Jimmy Johnson, who did Las Vegas, that television show? Got any acting plans? And we know you do, you know, the morning show stuff, but
I got my hands full trying to be a race car driver and a dad. So no, I don't have any plans. You know, all those things that come up sort of last minute, and all of a sudden there you are doing it. And if it makes sense, it fits in the schedule, then heck yeah, you know. But who knows what's going to happen in December and January? We got a little extra time on our hands these days, but without the testing. But I just like staying at home and hanging out with the family.
I hear you.
See there?
With this Guys,
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, you need to give him some fatherly advice.
He has been during the break.
I told him he'll be doing things he never, ever, ever thought he'd be doing.
Just make sure you take a picture at Halloween.
Yeah.
So we all get to see it.
No Halloween pictures. Hey, maybe on jeffgordon.com you might get them. That's
You
about
can
it.
come to us, or we can come to you.
That's right. Your cameras do just fine right here.
Jeff, thanks a lot for the time,
Thank you,
man.
guys.
We appreciate it.
Thank you,
Always
fans.
enjoy
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Our thanks to Jeff Gordon. We go backstage to our superstar, Rutledge Wood.
Hey, Steve, I'm back here caught up with Ryan Truex, who was amazing. Just won the Camping World East 2009 championship. And then you said, guys, this is awesome. I'd love to celebrate. I got to go to Trackside.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here with you and everyone up there. I can't wait to get up there and talk to them guys.
I don't want to sound negative, but you and I both noticed there's an incredible aromatic smell. Did they throw cotton candy on you? What exactly? What are you wearing? It's like scent of every soda in the garage, I think.
I really don't know. They just started spraying stuff all over me.
It's a champions party. Well, now, I want you to know that we're having a big Halloween party at Talladega. That's when we're there. And now, no offense to all the other Camping World East Series drivers, I just don't have that many invitations. But you as the champion, I want you to go. So I made you this card. It says trick or, and then you open it up.
Oh, wow.
Treat. And there's a guy with googly eyes. He looks really familiar. He says, watch the Trackside Halloween Bash. So that's your invitation.
Look at the gunshot.
That's a pretty serious. I mean, you're just starting out in this sport. If you work hard now, years from now, you too could look like that.
Oh, I can't wait.
Maybe less bearish, but we'll work on that. So I hope you'll bring that and join us for the Halloween party.
Yep, thank you.
It's going to be a good time. And fellas, I'm going to help maybe get him a towel and more cotton candy since that's what he smells like. Congratulations. He's going up on the stage with the boys. We've got a lot more coming up.
Go to break. Go to break. Too late.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, Kyle Petty's coming to our Halloween party. Well, it looks like Kyle Petty anyways, but it's not.
I'll tell you what.
He looks just like him.
Though.
He's here to do NASCAR Smarts, just hanging out at Trackside.
Hey, Elliot, how do you do this?
Like this. Come on, Larry. Show us Larry's the beach, Larry, man. Yeah. Woo.
Look at the trophy.
You know, we're not going to crown 3 champions until Homestead, but we have one here tonight because from the NASCAR Camping World East Series, Ryan Truex clinched the championship earlier today. Good job, Ryan.
Right. He's got to work on his throwing hat stuff, though.
He's doing good.
Yeah,
Nice
he got
job.
it out there. Congratulations, young man.
Hey, thank you.
Right, awesome job.
Very, very nice.
You know, and they're right about it. He smells kind of funny here. You know, it smells like that cotton candy stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
are you even old enough to drink?
No.
How old are you?
17.
17.
Tell him it don't matter how you smell. You got a championship trophy
The
beside you.
trophy's bigger than he is, Elliot.
That's awesome.
I mean, how does it feel? I mean, I know you've talked to your brother Martin about stuff like this and winning races, but being able to pull off a win and plus a championship right now.
I can't even tell you how good it feels. I mean, Martin couldn't do it. My dad couldn't do it. They didn't have the equipment I have now, but just so special, especially to do it here. This is pretty much my home track. I only live an hour away from here, so to get it done here is pretty special.
And you know, Ryan, you did it obviously by being consistent, but you also did it by winning races. You became quite the road racer. You won the 2 road course races, and then I think your other win, you won up at Thompson, I think it was.
Yeah, I think we impressed a lot of people this year. I didn't expect us to go down in the road courses and run as good as we did. I mean, we went there and we were just fast right off the truck. Everyone's just giving me such good equipment. Everyone at Michael Waltrip Racing. Michael Waltrip's helped me out. My brother, my parents, so many people have played into this.
Ryan, now that you've got a championship at age 17 under your belt, what does next year look like for you? What are your goals, and do you know what next year holds?
Whatever they tell me to do, I'll do. I mean, I think we're going to be running this series again next year. Hopefully we can get some nationwide starts, get some seat time in that. I'm good for whatever they tell me.
It worked out pretty good this year.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when your brother came on the scene, your dad, who I think is one of the coolest guys we got around the garage, was very involved in his career and stuff like that. Was he the same way with you? Did he get to come to a lot of your races and do a lot of hands-on stuff because of his experience?
Yeah, he's been at every race so far, and he'll have a headset. He'll be up on the radio or on the truck talking to me. He'll watch me, tell me what I need to do different, help me out with a lot of stuff.
You know, one race Ryan, that, boy, was about as intense as we saw all year long in the Camping World East was back in June, that race with Matt DiBenedetto up there in New Hampshire. I mean, you guys were going at it and going at it hard.
Yeah, that was, at least we put on a good race for the fans. I mean, I bet that was fun to watch at the track. But almost had it there, just missed by a little bit. But second place, we'll take it, and it's got us here.
And absolutely, it paid off.
Well, Ryan, thank you for spending a little bit of time and celebrating your championship. Hopefully the first of many. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Coming up, we're going to have NASCAR legend Bobby Allison join us. And as we head to break, let's check out this week's Bass Pro Shops tailgating tip. Stay with us. Sunday on Speed, NASCAR Race Day drives into Dover for Race 2 of the Chase. Mark Martin and Ryan Newman join them live, plus Wendy Venturi has the real deal. NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot live from Dover, Sunday at 11. And now it is indeed an honor to have one of NASCAR's 50 greatest drivers, legendary Bobby Allison is here. And Bobby, what an honor and a privilege. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Great to be here. Great.
Bobby, I don't know really where to start. I mean, you've got 7 wins here at Dover, tied with Richard Petty for the most here at this racetrack. I mean, let's talk a little bit about Dover. I mean, it may be concreted right now, but it's still the same old cantankerous, tough racetrack that you used to race on. What made this place so good for you?
Well, you know, the track just really is a neat racetrack, and it is very physically demanding. And, you know, back in the day, I kept in pretty good shape, you know, and I liked the hot weather, and you could really get hot here at Dover. And when those other guys began to wilt down a little bit, I was able to go a little bit further some days. But I liked the track and was able to go fast here on the racetrack with several different cars.
Bobby, Jeff mentioned your 7 wins here at Dover, 84 wins, 3 Daytona 500s, the 1983 Winston Cup champion. And now, October 14th, I believe, we'll find out who the 5 inductees, the inaugural class into the Hall of Fame will be. And you're one of 12 living in a class of 25. Talk about your feelings as that Hall of Fame, just to be nominated in that final 25, what that somehow means to you.
You know, the Hall of Fame is such a special thing. You know, it's really being done right. They put a lot of thought into the construction of the place, but also how to set things up and do all those kind of things. And, you know, it's such an honor to be included in the first round of prospective inductees. And, you know, I think a lot about it. I had a lot of neat times in my career. You know, actually, there's a race in the NASCAR record book that doesn't have a winner. And when they give me that win, I'll have 85.
If he doesn't, it's going to be really upset.
Not counting or anything. By the way, I want to mention quickly, fans can vote up until September 27th at midnight on NASCAR.com.
I know when you started the Alabama gang and what that has become in racing and how many fans follow the Alabama gang. Did you ever envision of it getting anything like big? And you got to be careful about people from Alabama trying to latch on to the Alabama gang too. Like,
well,
Larry
yeah.
here.
Wait a minute now. He's welcome. He's a welcome member.
I'm like one of the associates.
Oh,
yeah. Hey, when I started early on, I never thought I'd get anything like that. You know, I told my mom, you know, I had to get permission. You know, I was 17. I had to get written permission, and I went and told Mom. I said, Mom, if you'll give me this written permission, I'll get better grades in school. I'll improve my grades. Done deal. Gave me that. She thought it was for 1 week. I thought it was for 100 years. But I told her, I said, Mom, this thing is going to get really good. You know, people love it. You know, even way back then, I could see that people really were interested in it. And, you know, all people, men and women, and young and old, and you know, great athletes and people that wannabes, and you know, still we're so interested in this particular sport. And then, of course, as I got a little bit further along down the road and did that traveling around, you know, I'd go out and run places like Spokane, Washington, and Bangor, Maine, and places like that for the little short track stuff. Just go to any place like that, and people would say, wow, that NASCAR race last week, wow, what's going to happen next week? You know, looking forward to it. So I was really enthused about it, and I was sure that it was going to get good, but I had no idea it was going to get this big.
And they'd say, oh boy, here comes that Alabama game.
Well, our Alabama boys are going to go to the Lazy Boy Lounge next. Hey, want to remind you, the race is coming up at Lowe's Motor Speedway. There's some great deals, great family deals. Go to Lowe'sMotorspeedway.com or call 1-800-455-FANS. Larry Mack and Bobby Allison up next in the Lazy Boy Lounge.
Trackside is presented by new Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines. Brought to you in part by Go RVing. Go affordably. Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com to get started on your road trip adventure. And by Cheerios. Good for the heart.
We're going to leave Dover, Delaware after the weekend is over and head to Kansas. Join us for Trackside next Friday night, 7 Eastern. Look at there, folks. Jimmy Johnson and Mark Martin. Time to shoot on over now to the Lazy Boy Lounge. Larry Mack and Bobby Allison.
Now, Bobby, it's a little cool, but we're comfortable. Now,
Yeah.
Jeff Hammond was talking about your 7 Dover wins. And one thing that makes Dover another unique racetrack, there's a horse track in the middle of it. The word is in the late 70s, you won a harness race here. You beat Cale, you beat Dale Earnhardt, and you beat DW. Cale was upset because he said you tested before the race.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, any excuse is better than none at all, I guess. But I had not been in one of those things before then, and they took the one they gave me, and I got the win. So there you go.
You know, Bobby, one of the greatest things that happened in my career was a driver named Davey Allison. And we saw a while ago in the footage, 1988 Daytona 500. You got hurt a few months after that at Pocono. And that probably was one of the greatest father-son duels that we'll have ever seen or will see in a NASCAR race. You won the race, Davey finished second, but you actually have to see pictures and videos to kind of recollect what really happened in that race, don't you?
Yeah, that's correct, Larry. I have no personal memory of 1988 NASCAR racing still to this day. And, I know it happened. It had to be a great event, but unfortunately, I don't have any personal memory of it yet.
Well, I guarantee you that's one they'll be watching for years to come. You know, one thing that always impressed me about Bobby Allison, you never were afraid to step out of the box. In the 70s, you showed up with this AMC Matador. 1981, you showed up at Daytona with a Pontiac Le Mans. You were never afraid to get off the ordinary path.
Well, I was enthusiastic, and, I really wanted to succeed. I wanted to be able to win races, and sometimes I had to do some really wild things to keep moving on that quest.
You know, people talk about drivers today doing double duty. You did triple, quadruple, and even more than that on some race weekends, didn't you? Flying all over the place.
Well, I did. It was tough to get sponsorship a lot of times, and I could go to a short track somewhere and maybe win the race and maybe get a little bit of appearance money to go along with that. And, all that helped pay that bill for Sunday's race, and I did a lot.
Well, Steve, I may not be part of the Alabama gang, but I'm proud to be associated with the Alabama gang.
Well, mighty fine. Larry, you're more than
Our
welcome.
thanks to Bobby Allison, Jeff Gordon, and Ryan Truex for joining us here on Trackside Live. Don't forget, next Friday, Kansas, Jimmy Johnson and Mark Martin.